Well, hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today is the 10th budget review of the year. So we've made it to number 10. And for those of you who are new here, I picked the Hemlock and Oak 2023 Daily Planner. It's a little mighty beast of a planner, and it's extremely well built, and I'm just really excited that I picked this planner for my budget planner for this year. I seriously can't wait until I see this thing get filled up. So, I mean, we are marching right along through March. So let's go ahead and get flipping through it. Okay, so let's start with the 2 years at a glance page. So what I did here is basically all of my bills that I had projected to be paid off, I have highlighted in pink. And whenever I do pay off those accounts, which I refer to as my focus accounts, I retitle them over here, and then I just kind of like mark them off with the color-coded marker. So at a quick glance here, we could see that Walmart would have been my first focus account, and I had that paid off on the 22nd of January. I then moved on to the Kohl's account, got that paid off in about 4 weeks. Best Buy was like a surprise. He wasn't supposed to be paid off until May, but I just figured, you know what, I'm done with it. So we just got that taken care of. And then we moved on to the Capital Platinum. So that would have been the third account. So we did squeeze Best Buy in. And we are currently still working on the Capital Platinum. So he is yet to be paid off, but we're getting closer, as you will soon see. We then move into the year at a glance pages. I wasn't quite sure of what to do with these at first, but the more like the years progressing on, the more I'm starting to realize the importance of this page. So I just originally started off with like marking my paydays, pay periods. Those are marked in the green. And then, of course, I marked my focus accounts. So even when I'm paying those off, I am marking them on here. I marked down birthdays, holidays, those little pesky vehicle expenses that you see come up throughout the year. So we're not going to get surprised with those. If I have any large sums of money moving in or out, such as like taxes and my insurance funds, those are also marked in here as well. And another thing that I did add would be that I started tracking my credit score, which I will have to say I am quite impressed with how it's slowly improving. So that is healthy credit score growth. I don't want to see like a giant jump. I mean, in one way it would be nice, but at the same time I've learned that just like with like routine exercising and working out, you want to see a healthy growth to this, so small but mighty, because any like large change to your credit score isn't actually like long-term and sustainable. So we are tracking that as well. So we're slowly improving, and I mean, I'm gonna have to say I'm pretty satisfied with this setup here. Okay, so moving on now, we're going to move into where I have like all of my debts listed. I know that they're not in like an order that would like really make sense to anybody else but me, but I did start with the snowball method by listing them from the least amount to the highest amount. And then I went back through and tweaked them. I did this by using the, I call it Stabit because it is Stabit online. I believe it's the Debt Payoff Planner app. I do have it linked in the description down below. But I used that first to list all of my accounts in the snowball order. And then because some of them had a 0% offer, such as the Discover City and Best Buy, those were all 0% offers, and they do expire at a certain time. So I moved them up to where they would be paid off in the proper months. So like that's why, like, let's see here. Okay, Best Buy would have expired in May, City would have expired in June, and then Discover would have expired in December. So I had to move those accordingly to the months where the 0% offer expired, because there's no point in getting a 0% offer if you're just gonna let it pass that. Like, I would have had to pay all that interest back. So we're trying our best not to overpay on the interest. And the other thing that I did include in this planner would be the detritus. I found this a couple years ago, and I just totaled up all of my balances, put that in there, divvied it up among these little pieces. Um, I wish it was like 105, but then at the same time, I wish it wasn't, because there's 200 pieces. So, I mean, what would that be, like $2 more? I don't know. My math is bad, guys. But I believe that's $2. So, in one way, yeah, I kind of wish it was 105, but hey, I'll take it. It's 104.99, and I just add up how much I pay towards my debts each month, and whatever that number is, I divvy that up among those pieces, and then I color it in at the end of the month. So, as much as I want to color that in right now for March to see where I'm going, I'm gonna wait, because I did learn it is easier to do this at the very end of the month. So, let's go ahead and flip to March, because we are in the month of March now. And so this is the monthly view here. And what I did with this setup is I listed off all of my bills. So I have those marked. I did include my paydays again. And anything that's extra or a savings, I marked in the second color. So, like, these are like the mandatory payments in green, and the yellows are what I'm doing extra, so that's benefiting my budget. So, like, of course, any savings that I put in, which is my daily savings, I shoot for $5 a day. So, 31 days times 5, that gives me 155. Which, speaking of that, one thing that I did do here, which is new for this year, I created a little envelope for us to keep track of my savings. Now, all of my savings are digital. They're in my digital savings account. So some of you with like really good eyesight here is going to notice instantly this is fake money. I just have this so that we could see a visual of what $5 a day can do for our savings. Or if you're somebody like me who frequents the drive-thrus often, how much you're actually giving to those drive-thrus, if you do $5 a day. So let's see here. We could see for the month of January, I had 75 and 80, so that gave me 155. 70 and 70 was 140 for February, and I got my first payment of the 155, so I have 75 in for March, and that is going to give us, we have 50, so there's 100. There would be another 100, so we have 200. We have 250, 270, 290. I am going to do this just because it is easier for me. So we have 290, so now that's given us 300. We have 320, 340, 360, and 370, I do believe. Again, my math is not the best, guys. Probably why I'm in this situation that I'm in. But I'm going to say $370 tucked away safely in my savings account with just saving $5 a day. That's not bad. That's coming from somebody who wasn't able to even save $50 each month a couple of years ago. So for some reason, with me saying that, okay, I'm going to wake up every morning and put $5 in my digital account, that worked. That stuck with me. Whereas if I would even tried telling myself, like, okay, so on the first payday of every month, I'm going to put 50 in, I would always end up taking that 50 out. So there's something about that little bit of $5, $5, $5, $5, that works for me. So if you've been trying the let's put a, certain amount in on a certain day, and you find yourself repetitively like going back to it and taking from it, go ahead and take your amount and just break it down. Even though, like, if it is just even like $1 or $2 a day, give it a try, because it's something about the momentum of slowly building up the amount, and the fact that you don't want to break the habit chain that you're building by putting in the money each day. So I'm pretty much used to like not having that now. So I can just go ahead and do mine on each of those days. And it probably took me like a good 3 months, a good 3 months for that to actually build up for me to sit and say like, hey, we can actually do this. So if you're having trouble with your little savies, that's a nice quick tip here. Another thing that we're going to see on this page is that the Capital Platinum card again, which is my focus account, I just took the remainder that I owed and I divided it into four because I do my extra payments on Sundays, the day that I do these videos. So that's one of the things that I do right before I set up these budget reviews. So since I film on Sundays, that's when I do my extra payments, and I just divided that amount up into four, and that gives me $86 that I'm going to try my best. Again, these are optional, but I'm going to try my best to pay these every Sunday, because I mean, like, as we saw, like, I'm marching right through these, no pun intended, marching through March. But I mean, I am moving quite quickly through these things. It is going to get tougher as the amounts get larger, but I mean, hey, that's why it's a challenge. And of course, I have the no card tracker. I was somebody who frequently used the credit cards. I would use them in the drive-throughs. I would use them at the grocery stores. I would, like, literally, I would charge anything. If it was like a $2 pack of gum or something, I would put it on the credit card, convince myself that I was going to pay it. And of course I didn't, and that's how we ended up where we are. So it is literally a no card use. The only way that I could get around this is that if I have the funds in that account at that moment, and I go directly, like, even if I'm in the car after using it, like, if I know I'm gonna get a nice rewards balance on it, like the Discover card right now, I get a 5% back if I use it in grocery stores and that, plus it's like a double cash back. So I will use it in the grocery store, but literally before I even leave that parking lot, the funds are transferred from my bank onto that card. So it's almost like I'm not using the card, if that makes sense. But I mean, that's the only way. That is the only way I'm allowed to even touch them things at this point in time, because what we're seeing here is it's way easier to pay them off if you're not adding on to them. And basically any of the accounts that we got on here that I have paid off, I don't touch. We just pretend that those things don't exist now. So that has been a great help with moving along with this. Okay, and now we're gonna get right into those daily pages. So let's figure out where we left off. So this is where we are now. Okay, so this is where we left off here. Things were getting a little bit lower, but see, like, we used Discover for the 5% back, so I did list that in here. I do use these top parts as, like, it's a focus for the day, and I kind of do like a quick journal entry. It's a different way of thinking about your budgeting and how and why you're using your money. I do have my daily task, so again, like, I have a friendly reminder, don't use the cards, and if you do, we're using them extremely wisely. We're adulting. Another thing is, if I have any bills due on that day, I do check them off. The Capital Platinum card itself was due on Sunday, so that would have been the minimum payment, and then I had the extra payment. I just selected the extra payment. I did skip the minimum, but I wouldn't have to pay the minimum because the extra is higher anyways. And of course, like I used the Discover when I did the groceries, but again, it's not showing as a charge because I just paid Discover instantly. So, still came out of the PNC account. Okay, I have the schedule area. Again, this may seem a little weird or different for a budget planner, but I do mark down when I review my budget, when I'm logging, and of course when I'm going shopping, because we're about to see like there are definitely times of the day that I am more likely to spend where I'm more likely to review. So reviewing normally occurs from like 9 to 12. That seems to be the the focus point of my budgeting. I tend to spend from like 2 p.m. on, so those are different times of, of when I know I'm more likely to spend versus when I'm more likely to save. So if I'm focusing on my savings accounts, I'm going to work on them before 12. And if I know I'm going to be heading out to the stores and that, I know I'm more likely to spend. So I will reduce like my ability to spend. So I'll make lists. I'll make sure that I stick to those lists. I may leave certain items like in the car or at home, so I'm not carrying them with me so I can't spend. Things like that. But that's what the whole schedule has taught me about my spending. So as you can see, like I did go on like a no spend. So we had literally no spending here, so that was nice. I did make it through with this one. Technically, I don't consider the moral a spend because it is considered one of my necessities. It's kind of like food, so it's not like I didn't spend on something that I wanted versus needed. Of course, Wednesday, I had to, guys. I had to. I was starting to get dizzy. I should have packed something or had something on hand. That's my bad. But I like I don't know. I I'm trying to think of what to say here. Basically, I sat in the parking lot of Giant Eagle for 30 minutes trying to figure out if it was cheaper for me to go into the store to buy something versus to drive across the lot to the Subway. And to me, I got 2 foot longs for that price. It was $10 cheaper than what I was going to actually spend in the store. So it seems weird that eating out would have been a better choice, but this fed me for like 3 days. So that's like $5 a day. Again, we see how quickly that could add up there. And so this was the better option. So I did kind of cave on my no spend and I did go. Again, my bad. I should have had something prepared. And of course, Thursday, we ran out of milk at the house, so kind of had to get that. And like, I could have waited until Friday for these, but the weather was just more cooperative. I really don't feel like standing out in a thunderstorm, pumping gasoline. That would have been Friday, so I just did that on my way home. Technically, I had the funds in there because of when our paychecks like go through at the bank. It would have been in there, so it does look like a deficit, but it's not. Plus, I did use my son's card just to make sure, but it wasn't. So we just transferred funds back over. So no negatives, even though it looks like a negative. But that is a friendly reminder to myself, like, hey, we are kind of overspending a little bit, so we do need to figure out like what's going on. So I did do a flip through of these pages here, and it turns out that I'm not. I'm not overspending. There's nothing that I'm like really like caving into. So that's what made me start to consider that like I do have that $86 challenge here going on. So that is a wee bit higher than what my previous ones were. Like we could see this one was a 46 average for the week. And then starting out, it was only 36. So I'm wondering if my limit is probably right around the 50 mark, which would make sense because that'd be 50, 100, 150, 200. So about 200 extra. So I'm wondering if this 86 here, I mean, it was high. And I know it does include like all the ones that I do have paid off, and those are including into that. But I'm just wondering if maybe this is set a little too high with what my budget is comfortable for. So we're going to wait and see for the next Sunday just to see where we are, and I may have to adjust that. So the next account may not get paid off until like the first week of April, but I would rather get this in a comfortable payment amount rather than trying to break myself and then finding myself in the negative too many times and then having to rely on a credit card. So that we're gonna focus more onto that as we're moving on to the next Sunday here. And as you can see, like we survived a shopping day with the pops. And again, it looks like a lot, but I did use my stash funds because, I mean, anything holiday or fun related, that is what I use the stash funds for. So, like, if we go out like mini golfing or if I need like flowers for the front garden and that, it does not come out of my budget. It comes out of those stash funds, which are automatically taken from my paycheck. So, it's a measly $22 every 2 weeks. But I guess I'm not like a fun person, so if you're not taking from it frequently, then it, kind of adds up. So that's where I got the funds for those. I do not consider personal items, so like my chapstick and lighters and that. I did pay for those. Those came out of my budget. Did have to really consider that. Probably could have did away with the chapstick, but like it was like one of those things that you see at the register, and it's like, damn it, you probably shouldn't have got that. Of course, Bert needed his food, but that's in my every dollar budget. I did end up getting more of the decoration lights, but I used my Amazon points, so I saved $19 there. And another fun thing, which I've never done, but I'm gonna have to say, I think I'm gonna do this more often. Is I found like a craft machine on Kickstarter that, I mean, this thing looks phenomenal. I am gonna leave a link in the description down below if you want to check it out as well. But I'm just saying, for like pledging 139 for the opportunity to own this machine is like, first off, a deal. I could definitely see this thing hitting the stores and being $400 to $500, and like I could even use this for my business. So I'm really hoping that, like, I know that Kickstarter's not 100% guaranteed, and like I may not receive the machine, but I'm just saying like that was definitely worth it for me. So I did. I'm going, since I don't get charged until the 30th, because that's whenever I find out. But I am going to be using my stash funds for that, because I think that would be really, really helpful for me with my business and in the long term. And of course, like, we had Kindle. So there's a lot going on these 2 pages. And of course, that gets us to Sunday, which, as you can see, like, nothing. This is Sally staying at home. This is me not doing anything here. And I know I just got done saying, like, oh God, like, I think the $86 might be too high, and I don't want to do any damage to my budget. But to me, like, after looking on the Stebit app there and seeing the percentage that I'm at, I think I'm at 67% of paying off that fourth account. And I mean, like, I only got 173 more to go. That's 2 more payments of the 86. I mean, it was a bit tougher than the others, but I think it's going to feel amazing whenever I do get this thing paid off, knowing that, like, it doesn't matter if it's over $100. Like the 100, 150 ones, like, those were like cakewalk. where this one's actually a bit challenging to pay off, but it is kind of nice to know because back in, like, I'm gonna say December, November, I would have been looking at it going, there's no way. But it's because I would have been looking at it saying $25, $30. So I do know I have it in my budget to dish out those extra payments. So, I mean, that's comforting. I'm glad this budget planner has given me insight into that. And I think that's where we're going to close this video out today. So I'm hoping that my weekly budget flip throughs here, little budget reviews. I know you're just basically hearing me ramble about my monies and all the stuff that's happening for the week. And it still feels really odd to do this. You would think on the 10th one that, like, I'd just be like, hey guys, we're back, you know? But it just, I'm really hoping that this helps anybody out there who has a similar situation as me, who's looking at this, who's saying, like, I got a mountain of debt, I don't know what to do. It's actually, like, I'm not gonna say easy, but it is doable. The hardest part is probably making this list and coming to terms with what you've done. But I promise you, once you get past this part here and you start to strategize how you're going to break it down and how you're going to make that list slowly disappear, it is manageable. Like, again, I'm not going to say it's easy. By far none. I would rather be buying all the seasonal decorations and that right now, but I've learned to just make those out of paper for free, mostly paper scraps. So budgeting can improve your creativity. That's what we're learning in 2023. So I'm really hoping that these budget reviews are not really just me sitting here talking to a camera every weekend. I'm really hoping that somebody out there can gain just a little bit of motivation, a little bit of inspiration of knowing that, one, they're not alone, and two, that they can do the same thing, and together we can pay off our debts. So if you're on your debt journey, leave some comments down below. Just tell me how it's going. What are you using? Like, what methods are you using? Are you using any apps? How are they, working for you? Just anything, guys. So this is mainly a safe place here that we can share our budget journeys in progress and hopefully inspire others to take control of their debts. So I want to close out by saying thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And please remember to hit that like and subscribe button to see more Plan With Me's.